You have to. That's the beauty of it. Standing outside drinking a Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Is that the required barbecue?
I don't know if that is the required or not. I just remember people in my youth standing around a barbecue drinking the PBR.
PBR. Sucking down PBRs, are they now?
They were. And I couldn't have any because I wasn't old enough to partake in the PBR. But I do remember them doing that. Okay, now it does look like, and I kind of want to talk about this, a Deadpool 2, man.
Oh, yes. So are you a fan of Deadpool?
I am a big fan of the first Deadpool. I thought it was very entertaining.
It was funny.
It was funny. I mean, it was definitely a hard R. I mean, it wasn't like...
Oh, very hard R.
It was not one you want to bring the kiddies to, but as far as superhero movies go, and I was looking at a write-up they did about the first Deadpool. Do you know that it outgrossed every other superhero movie?
Is it number one now?
It is number one. It outgrossed all of them.
Wow. Well, I know it did very well. It's very well reviewed. This one, of course, no one's seen the movie yet, but apparently there's some rumblings from the set that this one isn't coming along as well as the first one did, but we'll have to see. So, we got a link to the trailer, and it's equally violent and funny, just like the first one.
Just like that one. But the thing of it is they always have the sophomore slump. Always, it almost seems like the second one's never as good as the first.
Very true.
Back to the Future, same thing. They had the sophomore slump, a lot of people would say. And then the third one, where we went to the Wild Wild West, they were happy because that was pretty ingenious and pretty good. So that's probably the same thing going on here. But it's worth our time to watch, I guarantee it. I'm sure of that.
Oh, yeah. So there's a trailer out now. So go check that out. We got the link to it. Go check out the Deadpool 2 trailer. And there's some really funny images from it. There's a Bob Ross, Deadpool as Bob Ross. There's Deadpool up in the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel.
Oh yeah.
There's Deadpool as the dancer from Flashdance.
Ryan Reynolds channels Deadpool so flawlessly.
Yeah, that's his character. You know what I mean? Huh?
He just does it just to the point where just funny as hell. It's just a they picked the right actor for that. And it really came together. A lot of people love the movie. I love the Deadpool movie. I used to read the comics when I was a kid, and they were just as gritty and a lot of fun to read. So, there you go. Check out Deadpool 2.
Success!
Yep.
Success!
Check out Deadpool 2 in a theater near you at some point.
I think it's coming up later this year. All right, speaking of movies, monster movies coming out, there is a sequel to Pacific Rim called Pacific Rim Uprising. Did you like Pacific Rim?
Not necessarily.
I thought it was really rather repetitive and drawn out.
Yeah, I was not a big fan of the first one. I mean, the second one I will not check out. I have not even watched The Shape of Water yet, and it's the same guy. Right. So it's Del Toro that made it, but...
He is not directing the new one.
He's not.
He's a producer, but he did direct the first one.
Kind of remind me of a weird way, like a poor man's Power Rangers.
Well,
you know what I mean? How they kind of put
Godzilla.
Exactly. It was a hodgepodge.
Transformers.
Yes. It really, for me anyway, it was not my cup of tea. But hey, some people did like it.
I was rather disappointed. By the way, speaking of The Shape of Water, we did watch that on our new 4K TV.
Ooh, how's the 4K treating you? Any different?
Loving it. Oh, yeah.
Oh, big difference from HD, huh?
Huge difference.
Interesting.
Much sharper and clearer and much greater sense of depth. It's pretty astonishing stuff.
I was thinking about buying one of those curved ones that you see around.
Yes.
The curved 4K TV. I looked at a 70-inch. I was thinking, well, go big or go home. Until I saw the price tag, and I decided I'm going to go home.
Yeah, they're not cheap, and don't be. If it is cheap, then you're not getting high quality.
Yeah, this one was what, right around $3,000 or so. The one I was looking at,
I believe it. Sure.
They're kind of expensive, and of course, my wallet's going. No, not today. Not today.
That's a lot.
That's
TV.
Investment right there. That's a big investment.
That's a lot for TV. Anyway, back to the Pacific Rim Uprising. It is coming out this weekend, and it is predicted that finally, after 5 weeks, which is a record apparently, at least for a long time, at the number one box office spot for Black Panther. They are now predicting it will finally come in second to Pacific Rim Uprising this weekend.
It's been a really slow spring for movies, though. And the Black Panther thing, don't get me wrong, it's a great movie, but,
really is.
It's time that something's going to overtake it. But I also sat back and wondered, did they forget about other African-American superheroes in comics? Because they were saying that he was the only one, like the first one. No, that's not true.
No, it isn't true.
That is far from the truth. There was a lot of heavily influenced African-American content as far as superheroes go. So, check into it a little bit. I mean, heck, even someone would argue Shaft himself.
I think you'd have, you got to kind of add a lot of caveats to make it come out to that. But, I mean, it was certainly the most black, successful, worldwide film ever. I said almost everyone in the cast is African American.
When are we going to get to the point where we just say it's a good movie, we don't have to add the caveat of black?
Well, I think I think this one went a long way to making that happen.
You know what I mean? Because it's just a good movie. It is just a very good film.
Normalized. It is. It really was well made. I enjoyed it a lot. Really did.
I mean, I don't want them to cheapen it by, obviously I don't want to get racial here, but I think that the actors deserve more respect than that.
I agree.
I think
we don't want to say things like, what a great movie for a black
Well, exactly. I think that they did a wonderful job, well acted. And I think in some ways and I've seen the expression on the actor's face when they say a black superhero. Yes. Well, they almost look disappointed because, that minimizes.
Just a superhero.
Exactly. Just a great Marvel comic movie. And that's where it should begin and end. Okay, that's my soapbox moment.
I think you're right. I agree entirely. And hopefully the success of the film on all levels, critical, popular, not just in the U.S., worldwide, will put some of that to rest. It's just a movie. It's a great movie.
It is a very good movie. It's very, very well done, and I suggest everyone take a peek at it. But getting back to The Shape of Water, I have not watched that yet because I'm scared to.
Good. Really, really good.
Okay, then I will do that this weekend.
Really amazing. We watched it on demand. It wasn't in 4K. It was just in HD.
Oh, the old school HD. Oh my God,
old school HD. Yep.
Yay, old hell, man. I remember my parents had a black and white television. So
I do.
So anyhow, very, very cool.
Really, really good.
Good. That's what I wanted to hear.
Check it out.
Because I saw Pan's Labyrinth and I wasn't too impressed with that. I mean, the visuals were great, but the story was a little weak. So I was a little hesitant.
It was tough. That poor girl.
Yeah, it was a hard movie to endure. Yep, exactly. All right, sir. Where are we going next? Where's our next place we're going?
Great image. Speaking of images, and as I looked at this picture, which has vampire bat, some sort of ghoul, a flying witch, some sort of like hand reaching out across the sky. It has regular bats. It's got a haunted house, and it has a moon with an eye in it. And it occurred to me, this is like every nightmare anyone has ever had in one picture.
You can never go wrong with those things in one picture.
All of those things
come together to make a creepy tapestry of goodness.
That is, I guess it's supposed to be sort of a quintessential Halloween shot, but it's kind of beyond Halloween. I mean, it has Halloween images, but it also has kind of other kinds of images as well. I think it's nightmarish rather than Halloween.
Yeah, that makes sense. So anyone that is not looking at it with us, go on over to AM Haunted over there at Twitter. Follow along with the 464,000 followers we got over there. Thank you all for following us. And mainly Eric, because he's the one that does all the hard work on the Twitter, by the way. And keeping everything entertaining and writing all the cool articles. But go on over there, check it out, and look at these astounding images right along with us if you get a chance. Absolutely do that.
Speaking of images, I just loved the old Abbott and Costello monster movies.
Who
you
doesn't?
Know.
I mean,
I don't know.
Do you
if anyone
remember?
doesn't, they're knuckleheads.
Well, yeah. I mean, come on. Those are great movies,
They're
they
so
were
funny.
And they were a safe horror film for our formative years when I was a kid, right?
Exactly.
That was something I was introduced to horror very slowly through Abbott and Costello. By having like Dracula and the Wolfman and Frankenstein kind of introduced in a non-threatening way. And then I wrapped myself up to, like American Werewolf in London and these other great films. But that was kind of the gateway drug, so to speak, of horror movies for this guy.
Well, me too, really. And because they go all the way back to the 40s, right? I believe.
They do. They go a long, long, long way. And
because they're so far back, the actors, playing the various monsters are the universal monsters. They're the actors
originals. Yeah, they're the real deal.
It's Bela Lugosi. I don't think it was Boris Karloff. I think this one is this picture we're seeing of Frankenstein. I think that's Glenn Strange, who came along after. But
Sure.
It's still iconic Frankenstein and the classic Abbott and Costello. So funny picture, or great picture. They're looking up to him as he looms over them, and just reminded me how much I enjoy those. And I have all those now on DVD. I think we're going to go back and start watching
Yeah,
them.
I was actually hoping in some small way that they were going to remake them, but then another small way I was hoping they wouldn't. The Universal films.
Right.
Because they're so iconic. How do you recapture that moment in horror history?
Well, they have not gotten off to a good start because that Tom Cruise Mummy movie that came out last year, that was disaster.
It was not very good. I saw that, and it was not very good at all. I would not put that in my... I was hoping Brendan Fraser would come back at that point because I think he would have done better. At least it would have been a continuation of an already established franchise.
I actually liked all three of his Mummy movies, especially the first two. By the time they went to China and he was in it less, it was more about his son. That wasn't quite as good. But those first two are great. I love them. They're hilarious and creepy and spooky.
They were. So now if you guys have not ever visited our website, by the way, that's America's-Most-Haunted. Check that out if you're hearing us via podcast or you're just listening across the various live locations we have. If you have not ever stopped in there, take a peek. We got some very, very cool articles for you guys to read and be a part of. And, of course, man, they stretch the gamut for years. We have years of articles up along with content. There's several hundred just shows waiting for you to download as well. So check that out over at America's-Most-Haunted.com. Man, I'm stumbling and a bumbling on the words. It is so dry here. I cannot wait for winter to leave, my friend. Cannot wait for it to leave.
Agree. We still have one of the humidifiers rolling. At one point, we had two humidifiers going round the clock. Still have one going, but yeah, like you, we are technically into spring, but it doesn't feel like it yet.
It is. And again, if you guys missed last Tuesday, we installed a brand new co-host, and that would be Miss Heidi Hollis joined me on Tuesday. And boy, we had a lot of fun. We kind of hit everything in the paranormal. But really, specifically, we went dark. We talked about the demonic is what we did a lot of the 2 hours. We ended up talking about my own experience where I had to brush the demonic. And of course, that's every time I tell that tale, I get goosebumps. And I tell it in all its scary, gory, and glory over there at the show. And a little bit of it was gory because it got a little physical on me, man. It was a very scary moment in my life. But check that all out. And, of course, check out last night's show where we dealt with D.B. Cooper. And we came to the conclusion that Christensen was... Kenny Christensen may have very well been D.B. Cooper, and there's some very compelling evidence to that effect. We have to run a break, but when we come back, we have a great guest on tap. Like always, we have Laura Bickle with us tonight, and she's the writer of the Witch Creek Wildlands novel. Don't go anywhere. We're going to go paranormal on you guys. Be right back right after this.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to report a bear sighting.
Location.
My backyard.
Oh, your backyard. Try telling a bear that.
I did, and this bear talked back.
Talking bear, that's rich.
No, wait, it was Smokey Bear.
Smokey. Why didn't you say so?
I did say so.
Continue.
I was burning yard waste.
No, boy.
He told me to burn legally and responsibly, and to remember that if it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave.
And as